And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the finale, to the final ESL Masters Winter 2023 America's Qualifier, the Closed Qualifier. This is the final chance for players to make it into the regionals. We just wrapped up with the Asia Qualifier and the European Qualifier, and now we are here with our final qualifier. We've been live how many hours? 10 hours, Poppy. We've been live 10 hours going over all of this, and it all ends here. It all ends here. I brought this up earlier when we were going over some of the matches, but this is where we laugh, we smile, we cry a little bit inside because the Ducklings are fighting amongst each other. Exclamation mark B in the actually I will have to we'll have to update the brackets, the command, I should say. I think it's still set up for the European qualifier, but I will set it up. Regardless, if you look at the Wikipedia page, if you check out the bracket on ESL as well, a lot is going on, and the Ducklings may end up facing each other as well, as we have quite a lot on the line. We have a lot on the line, so again, we're going to be a little bit biased, but it's okay. We like it, Bobby. We like being biased. It's going to be Erik going up against Mcanning. Up first, Bobby. Up first. The can man himself, really the embodiment of America. Going to be going up against Erik, the man who, I mean, he dominated his way throughout the entire, almost the year, you know, having his way with Dark for a while in his ZvZs. And Erik, he's a damn good player, but he has been taking a break. He has been taking a break from the game. He's been focusing on IRL commitments as well. As a result, oh boy, this is not clear cut. I would say in his prime, I would say if we played a couple of months ago, even 3-4 months ago, Erik would be the favored player. I would say 3 months ago. But now, we'll see. We shall see. I was talking to Erik earlier and how unfamiliar he is with the new patch. He has been laddering and playing. He has been practicing on the new patch and the new maps. But again, it's still a recent thing for him. So, oh boy, it's not as clear cut. Likewise, it's not just Erik. We have Ryu as well. We have Dolan. We have some of the ex-CranKy Ducklings in Vindicta as well. A lot of matches going on here tonight, and I wish all my Ducklings the best. Wish them all the best. To put things into a little bit of context here, basically we have 16 players. 16 players in total, and 8 of them will make it through. 8 of them will make it through to the main event, to ESL Masters Americas. And from the main event, you can then get seeds into the offline event as well, into DreamHack Atlanta proper, which is going to be at the end of the year. So a lot here is on the line. Oh my god, quickly going over some of these matches. We have Eggs versus Rob, El Huevito. Eggs, good to see Eggs once again. We have Jason versus Maples, Nina versus Ryu in a ZvP. Oh god, of course I'm gonna be cheering my heart out for Ryu, and I believe they have just started their series. We have our series, Mcanning versus Erik, another PVZ. We have Vindicta versus Riser, Reaper versus Dolan. That's gonna be a spicy TVZ as well. Reaper, the cheesiest Erik player in the Americas, and Dolan, one of the well, the brain of Voltron, actually. If you understand that meme, you know. Uko versus Foxer, and Rocker versus Disc. And of course, we have our first series. It's going to be Erik versus Mcanning. The players are just conducting their vetoes, and once they are done, we will dive on into our best of 3. We start off with best of 3s. Next round, best of 5s. That is where it all comes down to the wire. It is going to be double elimination, so if either one of these players falls here, they will have another chance. They will have another chance at redemption in the lower bracket to make it through to still qualify for the regionals for the Americas. Oh boy, so they do have a little bit of leeway. They have a little bit of a buffer zone before things can get really dire. So at least our players have that. And yeah, I'm really excited. Fun fact, despite, you know, these past 3 days, despite casting for 14 hours every day, no coffee, no caffeine, especially now. Like, I'm actually pretty hyped. Like, my body is excited, Bobby. I'm excited. You know, we're passionate about our players, about the people that we support, and I'm excited. I'm also a little bit nervous. A little bit, not for the cast, not for myself, but for Erik, for Erik, for Ryu, for Dolan, for Vindicta as well. Paddy Mac was also seeded into this event, but for those wondering, Paddy Mac, he did not accept the invite because he's unable to participate. He's actually in China at the moment. Paddy Mac, he is actually studying over in the land, studying, or I think an internship in the land of China, I think studying, and as a result, he actually doesn't have access to StarCraft. He actually can't play. Or he would, if he did, I guess he'd be playing on like 300 ping or something. It'd be not good. So unfortunately, he did end up pulling out, and I believe he was replaced by Riser. I think it was Riser who did replace him, which means it would have been Paddy versus Vindicta. That would have been wild. That would have been crazy, Bob. That would have been crazy. Oh my god, the Ducklings. But regardless, no, we have our players, we have our boys, of course, in Dolan, Erik, and Ryu, and we wish them the best. I do think they all have the capacity to advance on into the next round. It's about whether, you know, they're feeling good and they can bring it out of them here now on the day. The other thing, of course, for some context, is that if you remember, I was talking yesterday about Ryu. How Ryu was a little bit upset about his performance. I mean, he looked good, he looked strong, but Ryu actually has COVID, so he's still unwell, he's still sick, he's still recovering. I was catching up with him just before the broadcast, and he was letting me know that he was feeling better, that he was okay, and that he would do his best. He would do his best. So best of luck to Ryu. Again, he's an amazing player. When it comes to Ryu and Erik, I do kind of say that they're like two sides of the same coin. It's kind of like Solar and Dark. I feel like that's what Ryu and Erik are. Where Ryu, he is hyper fixated on like macro and you know, getting to the late game and getting to like, you know, taking up into lurkers, into Hydra Lurker Viper, you know, and he has really solid late game control when he does get there. He has some of the best in Latin America. That's like his goal, right? Is like standard play, very little cheese. And like Erik, he's like the opposite. Erik can macro, don't get me wrong, but he's like a really unique player. You know, he has such a unique outlook on the game, and he comes up with his own builds, and he can be very cheesy or very unorthodox and really off tempo, and he can be a really difficult player to read as well. I would say that ZvZ is very is one of the more standard kind of. Actually, I was gonna say ZvZ is pretty standard, but even then, no, like he would just catch Dark off guard time and time again. It was crazy. It was wild, Pop. It was wild. So yeah, even in ZvZ, he's very unpredictable, Poppy. So we are just getting ready for this. And it looks like the vetoes are done. Predictions in the chat are open as well. So place your bets on how you think this series will unfold as we get into game number 1 of this best of 3 series. Good luck, everyone. Good luck. Oh. Light running on 100% Hopium, Papi. Ho, true. The Voltron assembly went. Oh, we're gonna come together, Papi. We're gonna come together. You don't sound too biased when introducing Erik. I want to try to keep it. I want to try to keep it contained. Okay. As a myth that Light sometimes eats and sleeps. These are fake. They're not true, Bobby. They're not true. But here we go. We're getting into this and spawning. In the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the red Protoss player. Currently teamless, but you know what? He doesn't need a team because he has the entire country behind his back. He is the bald eagle. He is the United States of America embodied. It is Mcanning. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura. Let's go. We have going for a proxy hatch. We have the Brazilian Zerg player himself. What does he stand for? He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. The F in Erik stands for fear. Representing the CranKy Ducklings, it is Erik. Oh my god. Okay, so this is already popping off. We have a proxy hatch across the map going right into a 14 pool as well. Now this has been scattered by Mcanning. He sees, he is aware, he's going for a forge as a response. He's going to be throwing down some cannons. So far, really good reaction. Really good reaction out of Mcanning. Really good scouting as well of what is going on. With this forge, he can throw down cannons and shield batteries. This is very important when it comes to defending. Why? Well, the big reason for this is because you have very limited production available. Very limited units to defend. So cannons are your best friend here as a Protoss player defending against proxy hatches. Meanwhile, behind this, first Zealot is going to be on the way as well. Yes, he did. True. As now the Zealot is going to be getting across the map, and sorry, I was just doing something in chat, which I probably shouldn't have. Zealot does get into one of the spine crawlers, does deny one of the spines as well. That was a kill, not a cancel. Bit of a slip up from Erik. Meanwhile, more Lings are coming across the map here to try and dive on top of this. The first spine crawler will finish. I guess I should say the second spine crawler will finish. Behind this, Erik is droning. He is. Actually, never mind. I was like, I didn't have WSS game hard, so I was wondering. I thought it was droning back at home. No, he's droning here on the front lines. He's committing even harder here to the spines. Let us go. The spines are on the way. But again, more cannons, more shield batteries. It's going to become more and more difficult here to break this location. Stargate is on the way for Void Rays, and Void Rays would spell an end to this rush if we can get there, if we can go that far. For now, again, Erik just amassing Lings. His goal here to break through this wall, to break through the defensive line and flood his Lings behind it. Is this going to work out though? Because again, this is this is looking difficult to break. We have two shield batteries behind this. The cannon already just going to be standing strong. Shield batteries are slowly running out of energy, but likewise, we're also running out of Lings. The cannon does fall. We have another cannon behind this. The spine crawler is slowly getting within range, trying to take down the next cannon, and we do have more drones. This time back at home on the way. Oh, Void Ray's in production, and again, with the arrival of that Void Ray, I don't know if we can really keep this going. Two more cannons are about to finish up. The Void Ray as well, and the Queens will help when it comes to having DPS against said Void Ray. There is no energy on these shield batteries at least. It's still going to be a difficult thing to really pull off though. The Queens are getting low. Gateway soon to be going down, but the Queen, no! We are able to pull back in time. As the gateway falls. I think that was, yes, that was the only gateway here for Mcanning, but he's still relying heavily here on his Void Ray production. The second Void Ray is now on the way. The first one does take some hull damage, but shield batteries are being thrown down behind this to keep that Void Ray alive. Erik, he is slowly gaining ground. But again, it's going to be all about the Queens, about whether the Queens can stand strong here. Spores on the way. The spine cooler stays alive a little bit longer, but the spines, yeah, they will fall one after the other. And with the death of these spines, I feel like the siege, it's slowly ending here. It is slowly ending. We have the Spore Crawler pushing on forward. Good focus firing on said Spore Crawler from these Void Rays. And I think Mcanning with, yeah, I think he's held from here. Third Void Ray. He throws down a Nexus. He knows he can afford to. Likewise, back at home, Erik, he is going to be going for an expansion. Is taking his natural. And what's scary here is that Void Rays, they have potential to end the game. If these Queens go down, even if these Queens don't go down, if these Void Rays go for a big counterattack, they can kill everything across the map. It's the power of the Void Ray. Yeah, the spores are falling one after the other. And so the Queens, and with this, Erik is going to be losing everything here on the front lines. The Void Rays are going to snowball out of control. Even with spores back at home, the reality is that these Void Rays, they can take down this hatchery. They can deny the natural base. Yeah, they ignore the hatchery. They're going across the map. They're going for the kill. And Mcanning, he knows how vulnerable Erik is. He knows, Bobby. He knows. Oof. And it looks like Mcanning, he should be able to take a lead in this series. I don't know if these... I don't think that we're going to be able to hold them to the natural base. Spore Crawler is going to go down. We do have 2 queens. We have 2 queens available here. We're going to try and focus down one of the softened up Void Rays, but the Void Ray is going to barely go down. Oh my god. But we trade a Void Ray for a queen. Ugh. Erik, he barely holds. Can we make a game out of this? Can we somehow pull this off? We're droning. Things are getting really scrappy here. We are going to be droning behind this. Likewise, Robo on the way. No gateways here from Mcanning, so he can't really harass too much other than with the Void Rays, of course. We're making 2 queens at a time. This creep as well is going to be denying the third. This is something that I shouldn't understate. The creep is spreading here in almost every direction, or at least towards the north. And because of that, Mcanning is going to be stuck on 2 bases a little bit longer. There we go. The queen's coming in once again. Really good target firing from Erik. Oh, but he does have to be careful. Do we have a transfuse? He gets another Void Ray. Does get another Void Ray in the end. A second Void Ray as well. Mcanning overextend. Oh my god. Bappy. Mcanning overextending here. Loses 2 more Void Rays. Erik, he's living. He's surviving. But I'm concerned because charge is on the way. Gateways as well. And do we have enough here to defend? I mean, so far, we're just going to be droning up. We're going to be saturating these 2 bases. Taking a third is going to be difficult, especially with this Void Ray sharking around. But I'm curious what kind of tech we go towards. Do we rush into a lair and go Hydras? Do we throw down a Roach Warren as well to keep up with what is going to be coming next? I'm curious as to where Erik does take us. That is 4 gateways in production here for Mcanning. He can warp in 4 zealots at a time. There is that lair. Oh. There is that lair on the way. Templar Archives are expanding, taking a 3rd base. And I do believe that Erik should be able to hold on to this 3rd. Again, 1 Void Ray isn't enough to stop this from happening. So Erik, he's getting a decent economy. It's decent, but we don't have a Roach one. We're still only defending with Lings, and this charge army that's coming out, 6 gateways now. It's going to be charged out Archon with that Temple Archives on the way. Immortals as well. This is going to be a pretty hefty attack from Mcanning, or a pretty hefty army that he's working towards. 3rd base is on par as well. All the creep has been cleaned up. Mcanning hasn't spotted the 3rd base yet. He's not fully aware of where exactly Erik is expanding to. And he's rushing to a Spire. Okay, this is interesting. I mean, Erik does have a lot of gas banked up. The Oracle dives in. The Oracle does not see the Spire. Gets a Revelation off in the main base. I assume that we would be going Hydras. Spire is an interesting one. I do like Mutas. I don't know if they're going to be able to help Erik live, though. Like, I think Mutas can get across the map and get a lot of economic damage done. But the Archons, though, right? When the army pushes out, we're going to have 2, maybe 3 Archons with the main army. And there's no answer, right? Lings, they get annihilated by Archons. Mutas as well. It's going to be a tough hold. Not impossible, but tough. Revelation does reveal the Spire in the end. Oh, Phoenixes are already on the way. Nice kills on some of the stack defense from these Lings. We have 1 Phoenix so far. And we're making a couple more Lings. Oh god, this is a big commitment. Erik, he just rushes into the natural. And he will get a couple of worker kills. Decent hold position, but the shield batteries now. They keep all the workers alive. I think maybe 1 or 2 pros went down. Fleet Beacon, Sky Toss on the way for Mcanning. We're making more Phoenixes. I say Sky Toss. This could be for Phoenix range to help out with the dealing with the Mutas. Here we go. We'll see. We'll see if Erik can make some magic happen here. Yeah, we have a cannon on the way, so Mcanning is getting ready for said Mutas. 2nd Stargate. And I do think this is a good map for Sky Toss. I do think that this map is pretty easily defendable on 3 bases. The fourth is a little bit more awkward, but 3 bases, solid. And here comes the army. This is the army that I was worried about. 2 Archons, a couple of Zealots. Mutas, they do push on forward. How good is the magic boxing here on the army? We do force a recall. 1 Archon goes down. Whew. Good cleanup from Erik. And now we're going to be moving out. But again, we have revealed our hand. Erik knows he got scattered because of the revelation. And how many Phoenixes do we have? We have 3 Phoenixes. Soon to be 4. Against 16 Mutas. And again, you have to be very delicate with the Phoenix control if you want to deal with this. Already taking 1 big volley to the face. Oh, Muta's getting very low. Gets a pylon at the end. Very delicate micro from both sides here. Erik doesn't lose anything. He gets 1 pylon. He's going for another pylon as well. Getting whatever he can. As Erik is doubling down here, but the shield batteries do support. They keep the Phoenixes alive. 1 of them does go down. But we trade out 1 Phoenix for 3 Mutas. We get the Stalkers. Again, Erik trying to out-control his opponent, trying to out-micro Mcanning. Oh, but he loses another Muta in the process, and he has to respect these Phoenixes. He's doubling down. He's making 5 more Mutas. He's got +1 air attack. Ling Bane is going to be the supportive unit here for Erik. But again, we're still making 3 Phoenixes or 2 Phoenixes at a time. Erik has to back off. He has to respect it. Meanwhile, Mcanning fortifying himself on these 3 bases. The 4th, again, as I mentioned before, is going to be a little bit more difficult for the Protoss player to take. Not impossible, but more difficult. +1 air attack. Erik stabilizing, still on a lower worker count though. He's got a couple of Corruptors on the way. Losing another 1 of those Phoenixes. Yeah, Phoenix range is done. And with Phoenix range, you can have your way with these Mutas. We have to back off. The Queens will help support. 1 Phoenix falls. Corruptors are coming out as well. The Corruptors, they will help be basically like a buffer zone or tank a lot of these Phoenixes. Force a fight. The Corruptors, they have been spotted. Phoenixes turn back around. The ground army is slowly amassing as well. Changeling is keeping eyes on this. So Erik is fully aware of the army that he has to deal with. There is that 4th base. Likewise, Erik also getting his own 4th. Gonna be squeezing out a couple of workers. At this point with these Corruptors, he should be fine. Like Phoenixes cannot really deal with these Mutas. Lings are going for a bit of a counterattack. This 4th base looking very exposed. And we may be able to force a cancel on the 4th. Yeah, we go straight for the surround. Zealots come in, but we do have to cancel that 4th base. And a kill on the pylon. Good moment here for Erik. 4th is on the way. Nice surround here on these Zealots. Is there Storm? No Storm. Those High Templar looking very vulnerable as the army moves out. We do find an opening. We focus down the cannons. We don't get too many workers. Oh god, once again, we do have to respect these Phoenixes. Oh, and Corruptors are going down again. We can't fight this if there are Archons on the ground. Without them, though, we can. Another Phoenix. And another. Oof. The Storm has been revealed. Erik is forced back. Again, Erik is a faster player, and he's going to try to flex that here by going for the Zealot. Sorry, this Ling counterattack. But the Zealots, they get here in time. 4th base is saved. The drones! Oh my god. Aye. As Erik hasn't lost a single drone this game. Impressive. Very impressive. He's barely survived this long. Corruptor count's been getting higher. I still don't think he can really fight this head on, especially with Storms. Storms do complicate things quite a lot. Oh, he's going for the Nexus. Can he get it in time? It's going to be close. Up. He barely will. Snipes the Nexus, gets the hell out of here. How much will he lose in the process? He will lose 1, 2 Corruptors, and a Muta. For 1 Nexus, pretty damn good, and he's going to be... Oh, okay. May even force a counterattack at the same time. Ling Rumbai demolishes the fourth base, hits almost every single probe. The recall will force back the army of Erik, but you can see Erik pulling apart his opponent. Ling Rumbai here at the fourth base. Muta's here at the third. He's coming back in. But he has to be careful because, again, I do feel like he is going to force a counterattack. He's going to force an all-in. And there it is. Mcanning, he's rushing across the map. Ugh. And I don't know if he can be stopped. Archon is going to go down. Shield battery is out of energy. The Mutas, they have to be very careful with how they engage. We don't want to throw them away. Big overextension from Erik's Mutas. At the same time, here comes the ground army of Mcanning. The Lings, they're going to surround. They get on top of the High Templar. No more storms. A big mistake here from Mcanning, losing every single High Templar. The Mutas are coming back. And despite the disastrous start, for real, Erik, he was playing handicapped this game. He was so handicapped. He was down in workers, down in bases, down in tech. It was like he crippled himself by trying to go for the proxy hatch and failing. And he's brought himself back into this now. He still has to be careful. There are still Archons here available. Oh, big splash damage on the Mutas. Oh my god, the Mutas almost all go down. But we clean up the army. Phoenixes are left, but we have plenty of Corruptors. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that Erik came back. That was crazy. In one fell swoop, Erik, he was able to snipe a base and a mineral line, pulled Mcanning out of position. And now Erik is in the driver's seat. Now it's not over yet. Mcanning, he's rebuilding his Archons. And again, as we saw earlier, only a couple of Archon shots, and these Mutas will die. Erik has to back off. Infestation bits on the way. That's going to be for Hive. That's going to be for Ultras, I'm assuming. No upgrades. Oh, I say no upgrades. We got +2 melee, so I mean, Ultras would make sense. DT's harassing across the map. They are going to get cleaned up. Fourth base on the way. Erik did lose his fourth hatchery earlier, but he's going to be able to rebuild. God, the drone count, actually. I didn't realize how many drones Erik lost here at the fourth. These DTs, they did a lot of work. I mean, only 8 drones, but Erik, he hasn't been droning. He doesn't have the best economy. He's looking for a way in. I think he should be feeling confident about pushing into the main base, just because if the Phoenixes react, we have plenty of Corruptors. And the Corruptors can fight these Phoenixes head on. Bully him, puppy, bully him. I can't say the same about the High Templar. That's the other thing. We have rebuilt High Templar. We have 1 storm on each High Templar. 2 storms in total. Gotta respect it. Infestation bit not for Hive, but going for Infestors and Neural Papi. Oh my god. See in the chat. I see Seal in the chat. This is unreasonable. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my god. This is Erik, Papi. That's who this is. Ay, ay, ay. Be behind. Be down in workers. Doesn't matter. But again, it's not over yet. Not over yet. With good storms, Mcanning can still take a fight. He now has 3 High Templar. 3 storms available. So Ramai coming in. God, Mcanning is making 3 Phoenixes at a time. Now, what's important with these Infestors? Fungal, papi, fungal. Just like how storms could spell the end for Erik, fungals could also spell the end for Mcanning. He wants to lure him in. He wants to lure him, papi. Phoenixes, come chase me. Oh no, Burrow's on the way to help mask those Infestors. Again, if Erik is able to land 1 good fungal on these Phoenixes, he can completely shut them down. Only if they're on their own, though. Bear that in mind, if they're on their own. With those storms, they can still take it. Speaking of, this 4th base is going to be cancelled. Erik with full map control. Zealot Runby, though, is getting across the map. There's Lingbane waiting. This observer also saw the Infestors. It is important to bear that in mind. So Mcanning, he's aware of the Infestors that are just waiting for him to overextend with this observer. He did see them. Really interesting that Mcanning is assigned to commit to Phoenixes like this. I'm not too sure if I like it. Erik now working on his hive. He has a decent economy. He could do with another hatchery, I'll be honest, as Mcanning is also expanding and taking another base. Erik not aware yet, but he's on the way. Does have to be careful though. Oof. As we do see Mcanning double expanding. And if Mcanning can get one of these bases up and running, then he can still keep himself in this. He can sustain himself. The High Templar is looking. Oh god. High Templar being adventurous, Papi, being adventurous. Massive link bang counterattack though. Erik, he knows he just cannot let these bases get up and running. He has to stop them. He has to punish them. The DT may live, but everything else is gonna go down. Good cleanup. We could even honestly try to go for a run by into the natural, not gonna lie. We could go further. Oh, we're pushing in. High Templar not here. It's still on a nice edge. But there it is. The ultras are on the way, and that is the nail in the coffin. Why? Once we get ultras, we can A move. We can get on top of this army with the ultras, force storms, force archons, get rid of the storms and High Templar, and then once they go down, we can dive on the army itself. Oh god! Oh, one big storm does connect. Doesn't kill anything, but does soften up the mutas. Everything, really. But again, that's what we're waiting for. Once we get those ultras, we can actually engage with this army. We can actually push in. And there's nothing to support. There's no Void Rays. There's no Immortals, Disruptors. Nothing to deal with ultras at the moment. We're just waiting for Kindness Plating. Adrenal on the way. There we go. We are pushing. We catch a carrier. Very big pickoff. One carrier does go down. A couple of cannons as well. Good flyby here from Erik. And there it is. The ultras. They have arrived. They are spotted by the observer. That observer putting in a lot of work. And we're committing. We are committing. And how can these High Templar engage? We're pushing in. Oh my god. The infestors all go down, but so do the High Templar. And with that, the Corruptors can go to town on these Phoenixes. The Archons go down to the Ultras, and the Mutas can go for everything else. That was the one fight that we were waiting for. And with the arrival of the Ultras, it looks like Erik has done it. Bobby has broken through, gotten into the natural, pushing in towards the main base as well. And there's nothing left. GG gets called. Ah! GG. And Erik takes game number 1. But that was a stressful game, Papi. GG, well played. Whew. Erik takes that game. Again, emphasis, he was far behind. That was not easy, Papi. That was not easy. I'm looking at the graphs right now, Papi, and it's heartbreaking. Ay, that was wild. That was a game. And again, Erik able to come back from a very rough position, to be honest. He was on 1 base against 2. He had to fight for his natural, he had to fight for his 3rd, and even fight for his 4th base as well. And somehow, some way, with his control, is what I will say, with his control, with his micro, with his army movement, he was able to pull Mcanning apart, take advantage of Erik's multitasking, and yeah, take game 1. GG. GG, well played. Just like that, Erik takes the lead in the series. Whew. And now we're getting into game number 2. Getting into game 2, Papi. Catching up. Catching up, Papi. Looks like we're getting a couple of updates coming in from the rest of the bracket as well, and I would love to go over them, but we'll go over them after this series concludes. Again, this is still a best of 3. This could still go all the way. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Game 2. Erik, he told me his game plan, but I don't want to say it, but he, ahead of time, he told me what he was going to do every game. And we're getting into this spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hardland. We have the American Protoss player himself, the embodiment of the bald eagle of the land of the Americans, representing just the entire nation. It is Mcanning. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have one of the very own CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own. What does he stand for? Endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. The F in Erik stands for fear. It is Erik. Hold on. I need to get the copy pasta. Okay, we need to. It's not an Erik game without Twitch chat having a bit of spam with the copy pasta. Where are we? Where's Mario's Junction? It's in our Discord server. I'm holding off here. There it is. Bam. Oh, as we're getting a pause. It's all good. We are going to get a slight pause here, and hopefully everything is okay. We're getting into our game. We're getting into game 2, and oh boy, I'm still calming down, Papi. I'm calming down. I see in the chat, Venita versus Venita versus Dolan confirmed. Yes, I did see that. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Well, we'll get into that later. We'll get into that. The team kills, Papi. The team kills. But it's gonna be a hatch pool opener here from Erik. Oh, the spray, the GLHF. Let's go. It's beautiful, Papi. It's beautiful. But yeah, it's gonna be a hatch first into a spawning pool into an eventual gas geyser instead. I wasn't quite able to see, but Erik, did he? Yes, okay, he did go for the 15 hatch. Sorry, yeah, 15 hatch opener, I believe, as it was a cancelled gas geyser. And we're getting into the swing of things. Behind this, Mcanning going for a standard opener. This time, probably happy to see the hatchery back at home, not being proxied. Not this time, thank God. It's beautiful. Now, because of the delayed gases here, we're going to be taking double gases. Roach Warren is on the way as well from Erik. He is going for a Roach Rush, and he did tell me he was going to do this. We're going for a Roach Rush across the map, Papi. Let's go. Mcanning, again, I'm sure, breathing easy when it comes to the openers, but little does he know that something more is coming his way. Beautiful. Erik's game plan is win. Behind this, a standard Stargate opener out of Mcanning. He's going to be shutting down this Overlord as well. I am a little bit concerned. So Mcanning, he went Stalker first, not Adept, which means he's lacking in information. He's lacking scanning information. Does not have an Adept across the map. He does not know that we are not droning. He does not know that Erik is cutting workers at 22. Roaches are on the way. Ling slips in, gets confirmation of the Stargate in the main base. So he's aware that Oracles are en route. And here come the Roaches and the Lings. It is a Roach and slow Ling all in from Erik. Who needs speed? Mate, calm down. Now, it is not an Oracle, it's a Void Ray. Okay, the Void Ray will help in the defense. Not just in shutting down this Overlord, but also in defending this natural base. But is it going to be enough? Because we are not just sending Roaches and Lings, we're waddling Queens across the map as well. Let's go. Erik made the hatch on his side of the map. Smooch, Papi, smooch. And there it is. The army does reveal itself. The Void Ray has arrived. We do have some anti-air though. We do have those biles as well. Warp Gates will not finish. The Cyber Core is going to be focused down. The boys are being pulled, but against this choke point, the boys, they can't do much of anything. As Erik is breaking on through, focuses down the Artosis pylon. Everything gets depowered. Shield Battery will not do anything either to support, and Mcanning is in a lot of trouble. He's even supply blocked. Second Void Ray is on the way, but the natural base is compromised, and Erik is not slowing down. He's making more Lings and Queens behind this. Takes down the Cybercore. Fleet Beacon. Oh my god. He's crazy. Mcanning going for the fleet beacon behind this. Throwing down a wall of shield batteries, but the Vials, they take care of them. The shield batteries, they will not impact this game at all. The Stargate is under threat, and it looks like Erik is looking to advance on to the qualifying match. Overcharge is going to try to keep this alive, and it actually will. Oh my god. Bappy. Mcanning, can he save the Stargate? No, he cannot. Just barely doesn't save it. We're down to 2 Void Rays. That is all we have left, and a Stalker and an Adept, to be fair. And it looks like Mcanning may barely clean this up, but what is left? At what cost is the real question. At what cost? As another Void Ray goes down, a clutch target firing there from Erik. He wants to try to get the other, but the Void Ray will barely survive. And what does Mcanning have left? He has the base, a Fleet Beacon, and a Cybercore in production. No gateways, no Stargates, no production whatsoever. There's one gateway here that can be repowered, and back at home, Erik, he can drone. He has been droning. He's up to 33 workers, layers on the way, additional queens as well. Erik has everything he needs, and because there's only one Void Ray, he's under no threat of a counterattack. He can be as greedy as he wants to. Now, it's Erik. We're talking about Erik, Bappy. You know, is he going to be greedy? Is he going to take a third base and even double expand and drone up and take his? No, that's not going to happen. But he could, if he wanted to, he could. But then that wouldn't be Erik. You know, it would not be Erik. Double Stargate production. Oh, I mean, with the Fleet Beacon, was the Fleet Beacon scouted, by the way? It was scouted here from Erik. He's fully aware of what's going on. Now, with this layer, we can rush into Hydras, and we can go for a Ling Hydra timing. We can go for a Ling Hydra all-in off of a 2-base economy. That is available. Otherwise, Erik could try to go into a Spire and go for Corruptors. Even Mutas against a low amount of things like carriers can work. But there it is. There's a Hydra Den. I do think this is more secure, and I do think this is more fitting with what Erik goes for. I do think that Ling Hydra is a solid follow-up here to kill his opponent. Now, Mcanning, what does he do from here? I think he has to be very defensive. Not carriers. Okay, Tempests are on the way. I mean, Mcanning, he has a very limited economy, so it makes sense to not go into carriers. But the Lings have arrived. Oh, they're going to focus down the Stalker. They're going to focus down the Forge as well. We force a recall from the Void Ray. Forge will go down. We probably shouldn't commit here, but it looks like Erik, he really wants that cannon. And he is, at this point, going to get it. Brings down the cannon before getting the hell out of there. Second cannon on the way. I don't think that was quite worth. That was a rough trade for Erik, but at the same time, does he care about the Lings? Not as much. Hydras are in production. Third base now on the way. We are fully saturating on 2 bases. And even though Tempests do have insane range, they're going to be able to chip away at the Hydras and any kind of ground army. That is true. Their rate of fire is very low. Very low rate of fire for these Tempests. And as a result, with a massive amount of Hydras knocking down his front door, again, I have a hard time seeing how Mcanning can deal with it without splash damage. If we manage to get into, I don't know, High Templar, Colossus, then it's a different story. Don't get me wrong. These units from Erik, they melt. They're very squishy. They're very fragile. Very fragile indeed. Oh, also, I don't know how I feel about this. We have 9 Hydras. 9 Hydras, that is not enough to deal with these 3 Tempests. Oh. As you do see the Tempests getting a couple of hits in, but they should be able to get to the safety of this wall. And the Tempests, they can chip away at this army. As long as they don't overextend. That's the big thing here. There we go. They take down one of the Hydras. Good force field here from Mcanning, but the pylon barely does go down. Again, force fields are clutch. Mcanning is holding, is getting into a higher form, or just into more Tempest. He can chase this down. He knows it. Erik now is forced to throw down the Spire. Spire is on the way. These Tempests, they can get out of hand. They catch the Hydras in the end. Erik just making sure no third base is being taken. And Erik does bleed out a lot of units. He's forced to make more Hydras if he wants to survive. Again, the Spire takes quite some time to produce. To finish building. Tempest, they get a couple of extra hits in, and we're going for charge lots. Okay. So we are switching to more of a ground toss army. We have gone up to how many? 4 Tempests? Yeah, 4 Tempests. From here, we are stopping Sky Toss production and going straight into ground toss. Erik once again going to be checking, making sure that there is no third base. As he drones on up, takes his gases, going into mass Muta, which I think is a wise choice. Again, Mutas, they can hunt down these Tempests and then do more than that, of course. They do shoot down, unlike Corruptors. We saw what Erik could do in game 1 with Mutas. He's looking to do it again. Spire has been scouted. Erik has to be confident to go in too soon. Does force a recall, but 2 of the Tempests get left behind. No! The Tempests, they get left behind. 2 of them will go down. An expensive loss here for Mcanning. Behind this, Anion Pulse Crystals. We have Phoenix Range on the way. Getting straight into Phoenix production once again. I'm getting some deja vu, but this is looking like game 1. Looking very similar to game 1. Mutas are moving out. We have Corruptors to support. Erik, I'm sure, fully aware that Phoenixes would be on the way. There it is. We already do have 2 of them. Shield battery within range. Oh my god, we do end up depowering. Oh, actually delaying charge. Oh my god. Charge will be delayed. The Twilight Council itself under fire. Corruptors are arriving, which means the Phoenixes, they can't push in. They're being zoned away by the Corruptors. The Tempests, they do arrive, but charge will not finish. Big pick off here for Erik. That was crazy. It was like 3 seconds off. I don't know if Erik realized just how close that was, but charge will not complete. +1 air attack is on the way. These Zealots, they just want to be fast boys. They wanted to speed up. Not like this. Erik is going to rotate around. Oh my god. He's going for the upgrades, going for the Cybercore. Gets one of the Phoenixes. Again, the way that this works, obviously, is that the Corruptors, they tank the Phoenix shots, and the Mutas, they do the damage. Ooh, as Erik, he's going back into Hydra, back into Lingbane. Gonna try and surround this army. Looking to overwhelm Erik. He's up at 50 supply. Even with shield batteries, I do think that Erik, he can break this position. Depending on the Banelings. The army's been spotted. Here we go. We're just diving on this force. Decent force fields, but the Banelings, they do crash on in. They annihilate the ground army. The Mutas go down, but the Hydra, we don't care about the Mutas anymore. It's all about the Hydras. We force a big overcommitment into Phoenixes, and what can the Phoenixes do against Hydras? The tech switch is real. Erik all over this. GG gets called, and Erik will take the series 2-0, advancing on to a qualifying match. GG. GG, well played. I see the chat. Those are the bad Tempests anyway. We didn't want those. Oh, I see. Feels bad, man. GG, well played. As Erik will advance on. My condolences to Mcanning, but again, if you're a fan of Mcanning, he has another chance. He does have another chance in the lower bracket. It is double elimination. So do not fret. You know, he can still make his way through. Meanwhile, we have some updates coming on in, and this is where I become a little bit concerned for the well-being of our players. Okay, some very quick updates. From the top, we did have Eggs take down Rob 2-0. Eggs is currently facing off against Maples in a best of 5. Nina took down Ryu 2-0. Very strong result out of Nina. To 2-0 Ryu, that is a little bit concerning. I do know that Ryu has really good late game. I wouldn't be surprised, especially Nina, she thrives in the mid game, and it may be the case that Ryu could not quite make it through, so Ryu gets knocked down to the lower bracket. Fun fact, Ryu is facing off against Mcanning. I wish I could cast everything. I wish I could cast Mcanning versus Ryu. That sounds juicy, that sounds spicy, papi. But Erik advances on to face off against Nina in this best of 5. Ooh, and that is what we are covering next. Meanwhile, Vindicta 2-0'd Riser, Dolan 2-0'd Reaper, And my two boys, Vindicta versus Dolan, currently ongoing. The Duckling and the ex-CranKy Duckling. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But there's a TVT ongoing, and I believe Dave Testa is casting them. I believe Dave Testa is covering that TVT. Wish both of those players the best of luck. I do want them both to advance on and make it through. Same with Ryu, same with Erik. But again, we'll see. We'll see what does happen there. Disc 2-0'd Rocker, and Uko is mid-series against Foxer.